Hi guys, my name is Larissa and today I'm going to be sharing with you a few tips and tricks that I've learned so far on how to save money when you travel. If you don't know, I am a college student and traveling is still really important to me, and everyone always says how jealous they are that I get to travel when in reality there are some really great things that I've been doing to save money. So I'm going to be sharing those with you. We're going to go ahead and get started into the video. So the first travel tip that I have is actually an app. You may know it from the website. It's called Kayak, but you can actually get the app on your phone or go on the computer, and they have a search engine where you can plug in like certain dates that you like. And so say like for me, if I wanted to go on my Christmas break, I could put in my Christmas break, and then you can filter it by like a few days, which we'll talk about later. And it will show you all the rates for all the flights pretty much to everywhere, and it'll show you the best prices for everywhere so that you can find a good place to travel for cheap. This is how we found our flights to Cuba, which I'll be talking about a lot in this video. We're going to be going there in December, and we only paid about $360 each, which is pretty awesome because we're flying out of Chicago and then heading down to Cuba. So definitely use that. I'm going to include that link below to that search engine, but definitely you have to be flexible on if you have certain dates, knowing where you want to go. The next tip goes along with that last one, which is be very flexible with where you're going, what time your flight is. You cannot be picky when you're trying to fly cheap, honestly. Our flights to Cuba, on our way home, we have to spend the night in the airport, and we could get a hotel, but we just made the decision that we don't really care and we're going to sleep on the floor because we would rather not spend like a ton of money on an Airbnb or a hotel just to only be there for like 6 hours max. So the biggest thing is you really need to be flexible. You have to be willing to get up early in the morning to get on a flight. You have to be willing to do overnight flights. You have to be very, very flexible, not only with the flights themselves, but also where you're going to go. You should also be flexible by a couple days when you're planning your travel. Like I mentioned, that Kayak app, you can put plus or minus 3 days, up to 3 days on either end of your travel dates, and that is something that actually gives you a really good chance to find a cheap flight. Sometimes when there are less flights going out, they get more expensive, so just really being flexible on like the actual dates too is a really good thing. Next tip, try to fly out of a major airport. Obviously if you live in the middle of nowhere and the closest airport is like hours and hours away, then you might have to fly out of that airport, but for me, we have two major airports in our state. We can fly out of Grand Rapids or Detroit. Usually I end up flying out of Detroit. However, for our Cuba dates, we actually found that our tickets were $400 cheaper to drive to Chicago and get on there. So we made the decision to do that because that actually is a bigger airport than Detroit. And it's really only like a few hour drive, so it's not a huge deal. So really be flexible also on like what airport you're going to fly out of. The next big tip that I would definitely recommend is stay in an Airbnb and not a hotel. Obviously if you find some super great and insane rate on a hotel, then go for it, but most of the time Airbnb is going to be a lot cheaper than a hotel. I have never really had like a bad like experience safety wise. Airbnb takes really good care of their customers and they take you very seriously, and it's just really important to read reviews and obviously feel safe when you're doing things, but I've never had an issue with Airbnb and I love it. I'll stick my referral code down below if you want to use that. It would be much appreciated. Definitely go check out their rates. The Airbnb we're staying at for a Cuba trip in December is only like $30 a night, which is insane. And we're really excited for that. It's really nice from the pictures and everything, so we can't wait to stay there. So the next tip can be a little bit sketchy if you don't really feel comfortable going to areas that are a little bit more poor, but take a look at what the US dollar or whatever country you're from is compared to other countries, and try to target a country that you want to go to that maybe has a lower dollar amount than us, I guess. It's hard to explain. You all know what I mean though. So for us right now, Cuba, the Cuban peso is 1-to-1 with American, but the local currency is like super small compared to the US dollar. So when we actually go to Cuba, we're going to be helping the economy out there like a ton, and also it's going to be a lot cheaper for us, which will be really nice. So obviously don't do anything that you're super uncomfortable with. Always stay safe, but that's one thing that you can use to find cheap vacations, adventures in different countries. So the next one is a pretty big one. Don't go on like tours or like super huge excursions. Don't try and go on like cruises and things. They're just a waste of money a lot of the time. You can actually go through Airbnb, which I know I've been talking about a lot, and you can type in where you're going to be staying, and they'll show you all of the like experiences that are available. So we're actually going to be doing this for Cuba because we know that all of those Airbnb experience type things are all approved by the US, which you should definitely check. But for Cuba, it's a pretty big thing that we're not spending money at places that are controlled by the government. So we're actually going and we're helping the local economy. So we're planning most of our trip using that, just because we don't have family there, we don't really know anyone there. And those locals can help you out a lot and still save you money. Those are super inexpensive like experience type things, and we're just gonna fill our schedule with them. Next tip, which is also a really big one, is to plan your vacations and adventures like way in advance, especially if you're going internationally. We usually plan at least like a year in advance, and we are like watching our flights thinking, okay, like this would be a cool place to go, and then we purchase our flights eventually, and then we slowly start making like payments on it. We don't like put it away on like a credit card or anything, but we start paying with the flights, and then we slowly start to build our itinerary with those like experiences and things. So the first thing we did was book our flight, and the next thing our Airbnb, and this is over like a couple of months, just to save us money and make it a little bit more feasible. The next one is to get a credit card that is going to help you earn miles, and I think that's really important to not just put your whole vacation on your credit card. Like, don't take out a loan and like start paying off vacations. Like, don't do that. But if you are immediately paying off that credit card, like say you're gonna buy flights, so you buy the flights and then you immediately transfer the money over, you're still earning all of those miles and you're still paying for it, and it's not hurting you at all. So just be really responsible about it, and actually can save you a lot of money in the long run. The last tip for you guys is to drive everywhere you can. I'm so jealous of those people that live in Europe that can literally just drive or hop on a train and like go to multiple different countries. We don't get to do that here in the US very often. But tomorrow we're actually leaving for Toronto, and we could have flown there. It would have been like at least a few $100s, which is about what we're paying for Cuba. But it's only like a 5 or 6 hour car ride from here. So we're actually gonna drive, and it's saving us a ton of money. Even though gas is pretty expensive, in the long run it's gonna save us like a few $100s. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe so you can get more content. Really appreciate it because we're a new channel, and we're gonna be building more content for you guys. Next week we're going to be doing another photography related video, and the week after that there will be another blog about Toronto. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching.